Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you can hear me okay. So this is, although I have a lot of slides, if you have any questions, just raise your hand. It'll be great to have a discussion than just a presentation. So I want to talk to you about open innovation at Bayer and the innovation ecosystem, and also how this can be applied to pharmaceutical and biotech in general. So Bayer became like new Bayer last October. So kind of addressing the societal needs that facing in terms of health and nutrition. If you take a step back, the population-wise, it's going to reach close to 9 billion by 2040, and so you got to be feeding this growing population. And also, people are becoming increasingly old, and we need to make sure that there is health care. So Bayer made a strategic move to focus on life sciences, addressing both the societal needs of food and also healthcare. So the new Bayer, the first part of my presentation, I'll talk about Bayer, and second, I'll go into innovation, and third, what is very important to keep this innovation and partnership successful. So for the new Bayer focus on three distinct areas. First one is pharmaceuticals. I'll go deep dive into the areas we focus. Second one is consumer health. Bayer aspirin, I'm very positive anyone can raise their hand if they're taking Bayer aspirin. And the third one is crop science. Just briefly talk about a crop science business. So our plan is this is like a unique and diversified portfolio that will keep Bayer successful for next 150 years. We just celebrated our 150th year anniversary last year, and we would like to make sure that with innovation, we see next 150 and beyond. First, briefly about our pharmaceutical business. So we are focusing on 5 areas: cardiovascular, as you can see from aspirin, Xarelto, other drugs; hematology with hemophilia; oncology, ophthalmology, and gynecological therapy. So for us to succeed in these various research areas, we follow 2 things. One, in terms of internal, we have our own in-house discovery. You can see mostly in Germany, and also in San Francisco in this country, and other places within Europe. So we know that it's great to be having our own in-house efforts. At the same time, we want to make sure that Bayer is present in other areas where the innovation is happening. So these are some of the areas in terms of Beijing, Osaka, Singapore from Asia, Japan perspective in terms of our innovation. And also I mentioned to you about San Francisco. So we have a combination of both external innovation from these hotspots and also our own in-house discovery. So when I talk about external partnership, I will mention how we complement what we are doing internal with what we expect to get external. If I shift gears to crop science, there are 3 areas Bayer is focusing. One is seeds, one is crop protection and environmental science. So for us to be successful in these areas, you can see that we are doing innovation and research in several parts within the globe. So we have a very wide network that's spread pretty much across all the continents doing crop science. So in my innovation presentation, I will talk about how we can complement the great work that's being done within the Bayer Center with what we can get from partners like yourself. So shifting gear from Bayer to an external viewpoint. So we know that we need innovation. We talked about internal and external. Before I go into the different innovation practices, I want to kind of very much emphasize there are 2 aspects to it. One is collaboration. We focus not only on collaboration within the company, I'll give you some example, and also we want to collaborate and connect to the world. If there's an innovation happening in a certain area in the world, we want to make sure that Bayer is there in some form to leverage that. And also we communicate, not only internal communication, and also forums like this where we talk about the importance of innovation and the importance of having partners like you as part of our innovation ecosystem. So if you look at the innovation, I want to talk about something we are doing internal, which we plan to take it external. We call something called We Solve. we solve a problem. So if a buyer scientist has a challenge, what we do is we try to post it internally and see if there is some scientist maybe in a different area has some knowledge, can help us solve it. A good example is there are some problems in pharmaceuticals, and they posted it, and someone from crop science was able to solve it. So just to give you like few examples that we're able to leverage our internal talent for solving some key business issues. But Bayer has got only like 100,000 plus scientists and employees. But what is happening outside the Bayer, like billions of people with talent. So we plan to take this crowdsourcing external. Very soon you will see like challenges posted from Bayer for the external world, where if you have the talent, if you have the expertise, you can help us address those issues. So something like what we did internal, and we want to take it external from a targeted crowdsourcing perspective. At the same time, we realize that there are a lot of things that may not be that targeted. So this is kind of an important slide and kind of the core of my presentation. When you talk about an innovation ecosystem, it is a range. There is no one single solution or a one single answer. It all depends upon what you need. And a company has to do like different things to fit the different requirements. So it can be something like a very close interaction like what we have with the German Cancer Research Center. I have a slide, I'll talk about it, where Bayer and German Cancer Research Center, we work together in a combined lab. And there are things we don't participate very closely. We do it in terms of arm's length, in terms of venture capital investment. But there are things that fall in between. For example, we are part of different consortia. For example, Innovative Medicine Initiative in Europe, it's one example. And also we do joint research in Singapore. And within the US, I will show you some example with the Broad Institute. So if you talk about the innovation ecosystem, there is no one single solution, but what we want to do is we want to apply a range of solutions so that for different problems, in cases where we want a very close partnership, we have a joint lab, and cases where we just want to observe, we go with venture capital type of investing. So just to give the example, like with Versant and in terms of a German Cancer Research Center, I'm sorry, some background noise. Yeah. So in terms of German Cancer Research Center, we have been doing for the last 6 years. So we have a joint lab, and it's progressing really well. It is something like we have to take a look back, and we have to take a step back and see. Typically, pharmaceutical and biotech, they never want to do like share their IP and do something like with someone else, an academic institution. This is kind of a new model where we have scientists from both places working together and making this happen. It also reflects a cultural shift that's happening not only within Bayer, but also other industries worldwide. Another example, very close to the US, is Broad Institute. Broad Institute, as many of you know, that it's a combination of MIT and Harvard Genomics. We have a very strong partnership in terms of oncology and cardiology, and also in terms of genome for crop science. We have it targenomics based came out of a Max Planck Institute spin-off. Just to give an example that it's not only we work closely together in joint lab, but also we have strategic partnerships both in US and also in other parts of the world. So the next one, I think many of you will be interested is, people keep on asking us, how will I know that what you're interested in? Because many times, many of our partnerships in the past used to be transactional. We need something, you have some offering, and we kind of partner. But there might be something like, you might have a technology that might be for your core business, but that technology can also help Bayer in a different way. So we have something called grants for platform. It could be like targets, it could be like a chemical lead, it could be an application, it could be antibodies, and we are also trying to expand it into other directions. So what we do is, Every year, we put out an application called, for example, with Grants for Target. So we just send out like call for proposal. These are no strings attached grants. So you come up with a proposal. If it's interesting, you get some money from buyer, and it's up to you. The IP stays with the person who's applying. And the way we look at this is a good forum for Bayer to understand and learn about what is happening in terms of innovation outside, and also you don't lose your freedom by taking a grant. So this is something has been extremely successful, and we are trying to replicate in as many areas as possible. What I would really encourage you is, if you go back and do a Google for Grants for and Bayer and see if there is something your company might be interested that you would like to apply for within Bayer. We even take this like one step further, because many of you are from very established companies, and whereas if you take the digital space, some of these are very young, these are like startups and people don't have a lot of exposure. What we try to do is we give them a space within our Germany campus in Berlin, and what we call it as an accelerator. In a very simple terms, we kind of accelerate your idea from just a concept into something more tangible. You can get funding. So people come to Bayer for a defined time period. We provide them with a mentor. Those mentors are actually someone from a C-suite. So you get our highest ranking person as a mentor, and they will work with you and make sure that translate your idea so that you become business savvy and you can pitch it to the investors, etc. This is something we have been doing for like 5 companies per year, and it's been quite successful. And this picture I want to show to you, because Bayer, you see that like it's very good to have like young people going around within Bayer, and so coming up with a different thinking and not very traditional formal, but rather than like people with good ideas, but they are within the Bayer campus, they have exposure to the Bayer scientists, and Bayer scientists sees them. It's also, in addition to helping them advance the ideas, very good cultural exchange for us. Then second thing we try to do is something called collaborator, because many people have some very good ideas in a startup. They might look for a lab space. So what we do is we give them like a lab space. They can come in and start working. So something like, if I have an idea and I can go and get a space, we have like 2 collaborators, one in San Francisco and other one in Berlin, where people can come in and get like a very good momentum to start their work. Any additional information I give in the website here, collaborator.bayer.com, can provide you the details and how you can apply. So basically, very similar to the accelerator, Grants for platform, this is another application, the Open Innovation, where we want to provide so that people with good ideas can translate or accelerate their ideas from just a concept into something tangible. They can take it forward. Just as an extreme example, we talked about DKFZ, Broad Institute, more from a very kind of a close partnership. We also like investing throughout the globe with venture capital investments. So there is a way by which we get to know what is happening in the startup world. In the example given here, either in the US or in Europe, startups and how we can fund them. And this is our engagement strategy through VC engagement. The next one is, even if it advance ourselves or challenge ourselves in terms of, okay, with all this open innovation tools and everything, crowdsourcing, still we talk about like one-on-one engagement. But sometimes if you want to solve a very big business issue, you got to be connected to many people at one time. So the question we ask ourselves is, are we optimally connected with the right partners to offer innovative solutions to our customers? And I want to give you a very good example you can relate with. If you go to like CVS, Walmart, or one of these big chain retail or pharmacy, you see Dr. Scholl's, what do you call like personalized customer solution to measure your feet, what do you call pressure, etc. So if you look at it, just if you go back like few years back, you can buy these soles from the off the shelf, but that may not be like kind of custom tailored to you. So what Bayer did was, Bayer used to have a product like that. We thought, okay, we have this, that's great. Okay, we can't just have like a one type for different people. All of us, we are different in terms of the way we walk. So we thought that, okay, we take our technology, we partner with someone who can do this kiosk type of concept. So we get some input from them, and also we work with like companies that have the computational abilities, because when you go to this grocery or department or pharmacy, you don't want to spend too much time there. You are there to just go, and so you want to make sure that we measure certain things and get the information back to you fast. And also we want to understand what exactly you are interested in, and we want to partner with Walmarts and Walgreens of the world. And also we want to make sure that we connect with software. This is something like, if you look at like each and every technology, suddenly you go from a one person or a one company open innovation to something like engaging with multiple products. End of the day, we can bring like an innovative product back to the customers. So this has been quite successful. If you haven't tried it, please do. Actually, I'm wearing one. It's not a sales pitch, but it's a very good experience. Now, with all the partnerships, whether it's like a one-on-one or multiple, I think at Bayer we take alliance management extremely seriously, because when you are there, we want to make sure that it's not only we get the value, but also you get the value. So you feel that there is like a proper relationship we're building, something we can build and maybe make it long-term. You see the value for your own business or what you're trying to do. And there are some learning capabilities, both from our end, also from your end. There is an enthusiasm and commitment from my management as well as yours. We make sure that you feel that the work you're doing has a strategic fit to what we are trying to do. And also, we keep professionally trained alliance managers to manage this partnership, so that you don't feel that like someone is doing this, not part of the main job. We have people who are dedicated for doing this. So end of the day, we want to make sure that it's not only our value, and you also have full value from our partnerships. My last slide is, I mentioned to you earlier that Bayer celebrated its 150th anniversary. So I just want to make this slide that it's all about people. People make it, whether it's internal, external innovators, so they make success, and we value from Bayer perspective. Thank you.
Very nice summary. I wonder if you could elaborate on your collaborative effort. This was tried before by Living, and they call it Innovationin. If you remember that, where the idea was floated, and then external bids were brought in as to what could be the solution for that. So in your program, are you going to report?
Hello. Yeah. So that's a good question. So just for others, he talked about Eli Lilly's experience with crowdsourcing and giving incentives like cash reward or something like that. When we tried this internal, there is absolutely no reward, no cash reward at all. Yeah. And we were a little bit surprised, because people thought it's a big pleasure for them to, if they have knowledge, other people in the company can benefit from it. The challenge we had was, if I have a challenge, I'm being paid to do this. Last thing I want to know is someone else in different part of the company can do this job better. Yeah. So culturally we went through it, but we didn't give any incentive. But we made sure that to encourage people, they get like we used to have meetings with senior management. They get rewarded for their commitment in spending time. That's one. So right now we are going to take this external. And for external, with incentives and Nine Sigmas of the world, so we will follow the same pattern of giving incentive for them, so that otherwise it's very difficult for people to spend the time. Welcome. Any other question? Okay.
trial period, and does buyer have the first right of refusal on the technology that's created?
Yep. So the time limit, I don't have an answer. It depends. There is no right or anything like that. To the individual company to think about the technology, if they want to give it a buyer or not. So short answer is there's nothing like that, because if I'm a small company and if I have to depend upon external future investors, I want to keep my technology as free as possible. Yeah, and what we are hoping is, if there is something, a very good technology, the partner, based on good relationship, might consider buyer for the future partnership. That's all.
No strings attached.
No strings attached. Okay. Anyhow, thank you very much. I know you had like other options, and thanks for coming and listening. Bye.